now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hey, good morning, and welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio. My name is Deanie, I'm the host, and we have a very special guest for today. And I do have to say that this particular episode is pre-recorded, and I can't wait to deliver it to your inboxes. And for you guys who subscribe to the show, you'll be the first to know, and I always appreciate that. Before we introduce our guest, things can happen even when you have failed before. There is still every possibility of success. Even when one door is closed, another door will open, or a window. Even when the situation appears to be hopeless, there is indeed hope. Even when your options and your resources seem to be exhausted, there is still something more that you can do. Why is this so? Well, it's because the past does not equal the future. Because you are endlessly adaptable, resourceful, and determined to go where you know you must go, to do what you know you must do. Because in this moment, you can move beyond anything at all that may have previously held you back. Sometimes you get those burning desires, those ideas you never act on, but it still burns in your soul, and you toss and you turn and you pout and you ponder like, why can't I get this started? But the idea is always there. So at any time, you can start. Even when defeat appears certain, victory is well within reach. Even when the night is at its darkest, dawn is already on the way. You can count on it. You know the sun is coming up tomorrow. Never give up. Never give in. Even when everything before has been a disappointment or a disaster. Because everything ahead can be just as you decide to make it. My name is Coach Deanie, and change is possible. Are you ready? Yes, I am.
Hi, I heard you need a website, custom design and looks fly. You need to get online in no time, cause you have a deadline. With Snazzy Sites, we'll bring your ideas to the screen. We're pretty fast too, with your vision is templates where there's nothing we can't build up. We'll make it shine, perfect website all the time. Snazzy Sites, fast and fresh, looking fine, you'll be online. Snazzy Sites, we'll make it shine, perfect website all the time. Snazzy Sites, fast and fresh, looking fine, you'll be online. Snazzy Sites.
If you're looking to create a stunning online presence, contact Snazzy Sites. We're the best designers in the business at bringing your vision to life. Visit snazzysites.com or call 980-383-8383.
Hey, welcome to the show. You're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Deanie. Today's episode is sponsored by Snazzy Sites. Craft stunning websites, blogs, and resumes that don't just look good, they get results. Whether you're growing a business, building a personal brand, or landing your dream job, Snazzy Sites has you covered. Start your transformation today at snazzysites.com. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, spirituality, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings. The ones that were out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when wisdom meets faith, and psychology meets purpose, you get a powerful presence of Julie Adcock, a licensed professional counselor, retired educator, and now the author of the life-shifting book, Unbreakable Confidence. Rooted in biblical truths and psychological insight, Julie equips readers and listeners alike with tools to break free from fear, change their thoughts, and discover the God-given warrior within. She's not just a counselor, she's a confidence coach for the soul. And with that, let's say welcome, friend, to Julie Adcock. Hey, good morning.
Hello. Good
How are
morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, and welcome to the show. So, Julie,
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Before we just really dive into everything, what's been on your mind and heart lately, with the world that we live in now, and what you think that we might need to hear?
You know, I think things have kind of quieted down now after COVID, but I know from my practice, COVID really affected a lot of people, and it was years ago, but people are still affected by it. And I think that being happy is largely up to us to create our happiness and find what we're passionate about and feel good about what we can do and what we can contribute.
Yeah. So the spark, the beginning of everything, and in this nature, we're talking about unbreakable confidence. What was the seed light that was planted that now brought forth this wonderful book?
I grew up with confidence issues, not very confident, just constantly looking at others and thinking they're better, or I don't have what they have. I think comparison, well, there's a quote that says comparison is the thief of joy. And then I went into education, and I noticed that it's the same thing with kids. I was in middle school, so 13, 14, 15 age range, and it was all about confidence. There were kids who were super confident and kids who weren't super confident, and there wasn't any difference in personalities or physical presence. It was just about their thinking. And the kids who were confident were happier, and the kids who weren't were not as joyful. Then I went into private practice, and it was the same thing. People came to me with problems, and it was hard to deal with. People find that it's hard to deal with things, and I think that kind of stems from a lack of confidence. So I thought, I need to address this.
Yeah. It sounds a little deeper, too, because as children, where do we get that from? You know, compare and contrast. Is that a part of consumerism?
Oh, yes. Huge part of consumerism. And I know you have a young child, and young children now are way more exposed to it because of the internet and technology than, say, I was when I was little. And so it's growing. And it's human nature to compare. And that's what the media does. You can look better. You can be better. You can buy this. It will make you, be a better person. It will make you look better. And so, yes, I think there's constant exposure.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary as a parent of young children. It's scary.
Yeah. To me, sometimes it creates like this unquenchable appetite. You always have to have more.
Yes.
Or this or that, or, there's something new coming out. You have to have it. Everyone else around you have it. If you don't have it, you're less.
Yes, I think that is very true. And the answer to that is really not in what we can acquire or what we buy or what vitamins we take or clothes we wear, designer things that we buy. It's within. And I think we have an unlimited potential that we as humans do not probably do not ever tap into 100% of our potential. But when we do, it's incredibly powerful.
Yes. And I know I made it sound like it was all doom and gloom, but there is hope, and you provide that hope in your book, Unbreakable Confidence. So, as a person growing up, how did you begin to work out your confidence muscle?
You know, I don't think I got that confidence until I was a little bit older. And I regret that because I wish that I had had the sense of mind and thought to get it earlier in my life. I think I could have done more, enjoyed more. But I got it later in life. And I actually got it through a bad relationship. A long-term bad relationship. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, I deserve better than this. I'm better than this. I have a lot to offer. And so I'm very thankful for that experience. We can be very thankful for hard experiences because sometimes they're our most valuable lessons. That was kind of it for me. And from there, when I realized my worth, it just exploded for me on the things I could do and actually writing a book. I didn't think I could ever write a book. And go into private practice as a therapist and just be the very best that I can be. And it's a constant. I mean, that's a constant challenge for all of us until the day we die, is to work on who you are and what you can do.
Yeah. What would you have done differently growing up to gain that confidence?
I think if someone had taught me, and my parents were wonderful people, but I think if someone had taught me over and over and over, this is what makes you special, this is how great you are, these are your qualities that were so wonderful. I think, and maybe even if I had attended counseling and had somebody that imparted that wisdom on me, I think that would have come earlier. It may be not something that I could have done as a child, but that I could have experienced as a child. So I think it's definitely up to parents to impart that wisdom on their children and teach them from a very early age, value yourself. Value yourself and who you are. Let's look at the qualities that make you wonderful. Yes, maybe you're short and you want to be tall, or you have brown hair and you want blonde hair. You have dark skin and you want light skin, or you have, I had really light skin. I'm very fair skinned. I'm a redhead, and I wanted to be darker, and not so fair with freckles. I didn't want the freckles. And so if I had looked at that and been taught, no, this is you, this is great. And some things you can't change, and so let's embrace them. And so I think as parents and adults, we can teach that to our children. And then when they get a little bit older, when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, if those kids, if kids that age can learn, even through education, through their educators and through Christ, their relationship with Christ, if we can learn how special we are, there's so much that we can do. We hold back when we're not confident. I think it stops us from being the best we can be and doing the best we can do.
Yes, indeed. You blend cognitive behavior therapy with the Christian faith. How did these two worlds come together in your personal and professional life?
I was raised as a Christian, so that's just part of who I am. And it's a big part of my life, my relationship with Jesus. So it had to be a part of my book. And when I went to college, went to get my master's and became a counselor, I really connected to the cognitive behavioral therapy. There's so much research that it's so effective. And so that just kind of became because I believe in it so strongly, and because I'm a Christian, they just became part of what I do and who I am. They just combined because both of those are something I believe in strongly. And I offer that in my practice. I use cognitive behavioral therapy, and if people want to talk about Christianity, then I can do that too. I respect if people don't want to talk about it, because my job in therapy is not to push that on people. But I'm very open to bringing that in. And it is a large part of what my clients do in therapy. I have a lot of clients that want to talk about that.
Indeed. Confidence sometimes feels like a big mountain, you know. Takes a lot, you know, to get confidence. I grew up with a small amount of confidence. And I appreciate the journey. I now have the wisdom and experience to guide someone else. But, you know, if you ask me, I would have, you know, preferred the confidence early on in life. But
Yeah.
what's one small step someone can take today that has the biggest impact tomorrow?
I think in being confident is to, you know, I have a whole chapter on there's nothing wrong with you, is to realize there is nothing wrong with you. You are just as good as the next person. You are spectacular. You are special. To look at I would say, if there's anything that could come out of my book, that would probably be the most important thing, is to look at who you are, to look at your gifts, what you're good at, what you like about yourself, and embrace those and make them your armor. They become your armor, not for protection against the world, but to go out and slay and create and do, is to believe that there's nothing wrong with you, that you're spectacular and wonderful and incredible and different than the person next to you. You're different than me. You have different skills than me. What are your skills is what I would ask anybody. What are your skills? What are the things that are great about you?
Yeah. Even from a biblical standpoint, speaking about the church now, people in the church or outside of the church that believe in Jesus, they still wrestle with confidence too sometimes. Me being one of those, even as a son of an evangelist, I still wrestle with confidence. And you know you guide your entire life. But what are like some common thought patterns you see that hold people back from knowing who they are in Christ?
Doubt in Christ, maybe things that happen in our lives that, I think this is the number one thing I hear from people, is bad things happen or they're in bad situations and they're not trusting that God is not doing that that God is doing that on purpose to them, that God is inflicting pain. I think it's believing that God uses all things for good, and that bad things do happen because we live in a fallen world, and people are going to mess up, and people are going to betray and make mistakes. We all do it. And so I think it's trusting in Jesus and constantly communicating with him, trusting him, asking him to lead you, guide you, enlighten you. And that requires constant communication. And if that's hard for people, because I hear people say, I don't know how to do that, talk to someone who does know how to do that. Talk to someone, and it's a matter of, it's just having a conversation. You can have it out loud. You can have it in your head. You can write it out on paper. You can type it out on your phone. You can type it out on a Word document on your computer. Be in constant communication. And it's blind trust, because when you don't know what's going on, it's hard to understand. It's kind of like telling a child they can't touch the stove when they want to, and they don't understand why they can't. And you just have to, that child kind of has to trust that their parent knows best. even when they want to. There's a Facebook post of all these little children crying and screaming for things that aren't really rational, like getting in the ocean when it's 20 degrees outside. And we just have to kind of trust we don't understand and talk to God and ask for insight.
How did your years as a school counselor and teacher influence how you approach healing and confidence building?
Observing children, young kids, when they are always in their emotions and they're not always thinking rationally, and they don't even have the ability to completely think rationally because they're young and their brains aren't developed. They're operating on what they want, and their perceptions at the time really shaped my practice and my approach to people, because we all, even as adults, still have that little person inside us that sometimes gets lost. I mean, if you really want to see human nature at its finest, talk to kids. Talk to young kids, talk to teenagers. They are new to the world. Even at 15, they're new to the world. They haven't had all the experiences. And we all have that child in us that is sensitive and gets hurt. And that really shaped my heart for trying to help people heal that person and develop that person that exists within all of us, no matter how old we are.
Confidence is like a muscle, and you talk a bit about the inner warrior, so you have to work out that muscle. Where does strength come from when you're working on confidence, and how do we assess it?
I think that it comes from, one of the parts of cognitive behavioral therapy is, one of the mottos is change your thoughts, change your life. So you look at your thoughts and you look at different perspectives. And that's what we do in therapy. That's what I do in my book, is let's expand our view and try to look at the bigger picture. I say to my clients, get up in the helicopter. Let's get up above this. Get in the helicopter and go up above the situation and look at it from a different point of view. And when we start examining situations from different viewpoints, I think we can start to change our thinking. I think we get caught up in situations kind of like being in really high weeds or in muddy water where your feet get stuck in the mud and it's hard to walk, it's hard to pull your feet out, is when you can get out of it and look at a situation from above, it's more clear. And so we kind of explore that. And you can explore that with anybody just by talking and asking questions. And you can do it on your own. You can do it without a therapist, is look at a situation and say, okay, how can I look at this differently? What if I did this? What if I looked at it from this point of view? And so I think it's expanding our perspective.
What's next for you? Are there new books, projects, or ministry directions we should be looking out for?
There are. I just finished a companion workbook to my book. There are workbook activities in my book that I just suggest people use a journal. Well, now there's going to be a workbook coming out where they can do the activities in a workbook. And I'm going to work on, the next project is book 2, which is just a continuation of book 1 with different perspectives and different activities to continue that journey. I love that word. It's a journey. You had said your journey to confidence. We all have a journey. And so my next project is another book to continue my mission.
Why do you believe that writing things down makes such a powerful transformational tool?
I I think when we write things down, especially when we actually write it, not type it into a phone or on a Word document, there's something that is very transformative about writing the words out, and the movement of hand coupled with the thinking in your brain and putting it on paper, maybe even going back and looking at it, it produces insight like nothing else. It's a calming. Some people hate to write. I understand that, or they don't like their handwriting, but I think it's a very calming, transformational process to go and actually write things down. It's the process of actually doing it, not even going back and looking at it. I just think writing things down is, I know I do a prayer journal, and I tend to go on and on and on and write a lot more than what I had intended sometimes. It's just a flow of emotions and getting that out and being able to express that. It's like talking to a really good friend for a really long time.
I love that. Where can our listeners connect with you on the internet and pick up a copy of the book?
I am on Amazon. My book is on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. I have a website, julie@julieadcock.com. They can find me there. I would love to hear from them and have a conversation with them, hear what they think about the book, if they buy the book, or just have a conversation if they haven't bought the book.
All right. Just in case you didn't get those links, no worries. I will have them in the description of this episode and in the show notes. So all you guys have to do is just click those links. What a blessing to spend time with Julie Adcock, an author who reminds us that healing isn't just possible, it's promised when we walk with purpose and with truth. From mental roadblocks to divine breakthroughs, Julie brought wisdom, warmth, and real tools that we can use right now. Today is early, so yeah, you still have a lot of time. Confidence is cultivated, not inherited. Journaling plus scripture equals transformation, and the warrior inside of you is waiting to be awakened. So make sure you grab your copy of Unbreakable Confidence on Amazon. I will have the link in the description. Be sure to support Julie Adcock and Vigilantes Radio. Reshare these posts, tag us, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon. Until next time, walk bold, speak life, and know that you already are enough. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.
Peace to all. My name is Deanie, and I am the host of Vigilantes Radio Live. I think that we are beyond just asking cool questions and getting cool responses. I think that we are here as creatives to provide an example that you can do things different outside of expectations, because some of us simply were not born into the club, but there is perhaps a door, window, or back gate that we can leave a clue for you to get into. Life is short, but there are plenty of moments to try and get it right. Pursuing your dreams and learning from mistakes may be tough, but regret is tougher. To book your interview, email us at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That's a V as in victorious. Or visit onlyonemediagroup.com. I'm counting on you. Heaven, we all are counting on you to step into your purpose and your passion. You are listening to Vigilantes Radio Live on iHeartRadio, providing you with an opportunity to dive deeper.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com.